Hey guys, what is going on? It's Fiji, and today we're going to be talking about chapter 988 of One Piece. As always, we're going to take it right from the top and start with the cover page and move through the chapter chronologically. So, Pound is chasing after his daughters who are, sailing away. There's marines in the vicinity trying to attack the fire tank pirates, and Lola and Chiffon are slowly being convinced that this is actually their father, so we can expect the next couple of installments of this cover story to give us a proper reunion between them and then end off the cover story. Hopefully it ends in the next couple of chapters, but let's get into the actual chapter, the actual content we care about today, and we kick it off right where we left off last week with the scene of Kaido and the Scabbards. So for all the people who are saying Kaido's going to blow up the moon, unfortunately you are wrong. I don't know why people were thinking that to begin with, because that's just absurd, and One Piece isn't Dragon Ball Z, but I completely understand where that kind of comes from. I just don't think it would have fell in line with Kaido's character. Kaido wants a challenge. I don't think he's gonna want to make things easier for himself by destroying the moon and not allowing the Minks to transform, and I don't think he deems the Minks as worthy threats for him to care too much anyway, so didn't think that was gonna happen. I didn't think that was gonna happen, but a lot of people did, so it's clear now that that isn't going to happen. We get a brilliant little interaction between Raizo and Jack, and I like this because if you may not know, Zou was my favourite arc in the Prose time skip, and I'm very emotionally invested with the Minks, particularly Neko Inu, and I really like Raizo because of that entire situation. I don't think there's much to his character. I'm not like the biggest fan of Raizo, but I do like this a lot because he makes it clear I'm going to repay my debt to the Minks, and we know that this has touched him deeply. What happened to the Minks? The fact that Jack came and turned this country that stood for 1,000 years into rubble, it truly messed with Raizo and with the Minks, and I just really like this scene overall with Raizo, Jack and the Minks because of what it did for me emotionally and the fact that it pays off from what was started off in Zou with Raizo feeling bad for what happened. We got the transformations for Inuarashi's Musketeers and I think Nekomamushi's Guardians, and I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the most impressive transformation, like artistically and hype wise. It was still a cool moment, but it didn't live up to the hype of, over 100 chapters build up, the Minks saying they've got a secret trump card. I feel like this kind of transformation could have been done better, and the fact that it was done so early in the war kind of adds to that. But then again, we haven't seen Neko and Inu, and they are the most important transformations at the end of the day, so I hope that Oda delivers completely with them and blows my expectations. What is pretty cool though is that this is chapter 988, and chapter 888 is the first time we saw a Sulong form, when we saw Carrot Sulong form in Whole Cake Island. So I like how it came full circle there, and how Oda planned this perfectly to just land 100 chapters later. So I feel like he obviously did that intentionally, which just goes to show how far ahead Oda plans. We meet Nagi, number 7 of the numbers. I'm guessing there's going to be 10 numbers or 9 numbers. Maybe a 0. I'm not sure how Oda's going to do that, but I'm guessing there's going to be either 9 or 10 numbers, and I'm not gonna lie, design is pretty underwhelming, but I didn't expect anything else. Like, we're not gonna expect the numbers to be freakishly powerful, and we know how Oda is with designs. He only really reserves really cool and menacing designs for strong individuals. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some dope designs for characters that aren't that strong, but more often than not, strong designs go to strong characters, and I think the numbers are being set up as opponents for the weaker Straw Hats like Chopper, Usopp, and just overall I see the numbers going to characters that aren't too significant or prominent in this war, so it makes sense. We then get to the most polarizing scene of this chapter that has Twitter going crazy, every One Piece community going crazy, the BDA Discord going crazy, and that's obviously the entire Sanji and King encounter. So I'm not going to explain the entire encounter from start to finish. I'm just going to say, from a technical standpoint, I really like this scene. This is actually my favorite scene in the chapter because it made a lot of sense and was within the parameters of the story, particularly when it comes to things like power scaling, because the way this happened wasn't an arse pull in any way. It made perfect sense, the way Sanji was able to save Momonosuke. It also ties back to Zoro beautifully, because you have Luffy and Zoro who's telling the minks and the samurais, telling them, Sanji's a valuable asset, I need to go get him, he's gonna be a massive benefit to us, he's worth 1,000 men, so we need him in the battle in Wano. And Sanji completely delivers on that by doing one of the most clutch things in the arc so far. Now, as much as people know that I'm not the biggest fan of Sanji as a character, you have to look at this completely objectively, and this is a very, very good moment for him regardless. The one thing I will say though is that people are completely blowing this out of proportion when it comes to power scaling. What Sanji did was impressive, but that doesn't mean he is as strong as King or he is confirmed commander level because of this moment. Firstly, I don't really think we should put that much stock into commander level in particular, since it's such a wide spectrum, and I don't think it's that easy to just put people in a level like that. And secondly, this is war. We're going to be getting a lot of people that are much weaker than other people getting good hits in and doing very impressive things against people much stronger than them. I know that was a mouthful, but what I basically mean is, take a look at Marineford. We had commanders of the Whitebeard pirates getting hits in on admirals. We had marine fodder, like soldiers that Usopp could beat in his sleep, stabbing Whitebeard, a Yonko. In the end of this chapter, we had Frankie and Brook pull up on Big Mom, a Yonko. So you have to understand, this is going to happen. It's a war. One Piece is not Dragon Ball. It's not a thing where if they have a higher power level than you, they're stronger than you, and you can't do anything to them. It's not that simple. There are different ways you can excel in a battle situation. If you're faster than your opponent, you'll be able to sneak on them, even if they're 10 times stronger than you. So yeah, people need to take into account everything when it comes into this, because there's a lot of variables that go into this. I also have to say, I really like King. I really like King. I like his design, I like how competent he is, I like the fact that he not completely, but he immediately understood that Sanji had the ability to go invisible. I just like the fact that he doesn't seem clueless and he knows what he's doing. He's very competent. Sanji and King crash into a building. We get a panel of Luffy who's visibly not afraid, but he's wary and worried. So it's very interesting where this can go. It's also worth mentioning that the tower that Sanji and King crashed into is the same one that Zoro sliced a few chapters ago. But I don't think that means Zoro is there, because we know Zoro and Luffy moved on from that tower. I think that's just supposed to just be Oda trying to give us this visual idea of how Onigashima looks as a whole. Before we move on, I'd like to say I am definitely going to make a separate video talking about who I think is going to fight King, what's going to happen between Sanji and King, and what to expect in the coming chapters regarding that. But for now, we're just going to move on, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about that one scene. The next scene of the chapter is actually also one of my favorites, because for a very long time I have been saying Luffy versus Big Mom is inevitable. Big Mom needs to be defeated in this arc. It has to happen. There's no way Big Mom goes on to Elbaf and is in another arc. I'm sticking by that stance 100%. And I think just her being a nuisance and continually going after Luffy, it's giving him this sort of mental dilemma where he's like, who do I deal with now? Who do I focus on? Because Big Mom is an equal threat to Kaido in the eyes of everybody. Of course, Luffy is more focused on Kaido for now, but he's still thinking Big Mom needs to be dealt with at some point. So he might actually bring it upon himself to try and deal with her here. I'm also going to have to make another video for that, because people are ignoring the narrative that has been put in place for Luffy vs Big Mom. It's a fight that's been set up all the way since Fishman Island, and it's a fight of great significance to the overall story. Big Mom's Elbaf spear is as impressive as ever. I gotta give it to her, man. As much as we make jokes about how incompetent Big Mom is and how we diss her and say that she'll get bodied by any top tier, she's impressive, dude. That Elbaf spear looked pretty impressive. It wasn't something out of this world. I mean, any Admiral and any Yonko can replicate that, but it's nice to see Big Mom actually getting some feats. She's doing some impressive things, showing us her destructive capabilities, showing us that she's after these guys. Obviously, this doesn't last for too long though, because we have the clutch and most wonderful entrance of the chapter, Frankie and Brook coming in, smacking Big Mom in the face. This scene is amazing. I actually would say it's just up there with the Sanji and King stuff for me. Like I said way earlier on in the video, you're gonna have to expect this kind of stuff to happen in this arc. If Frankie and Brook are getting hits on a Yonko, you don't think Sanji's gonna be able to, you know, have an encounter with a commander and keep him at bay? That's only natural. A lot of this is gonna be happening. Now, do I think Big Mom is hurt by this? Hell no! Big Mom is perfectly fine, and Frankie and Brook are in deep trouble next chapter. But does that mean this scene wasn't cool or anything? Of course it was. They had a clutch entrance. Brook was spitting. Brook is actually dope as hell, man. I can't wait. This is the thing, right? You don't fully enjoy Brook in the manga because he's always singing. And you need that voice actor. You need that yo. That voice actor is going to make everything so much better. So I can't wait for this in the anime. But about this scene as a whole, I've seen a lot of people complaining, and I honestly think it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with this scene. In fact, this scene is awesome, man. I like the entrance. The entrance is just dope. The way they entered was great. I know I haven't said anything too constructive about the scene, but that's just because right now I'm just a fanboy geeking over the chapter because I really like this scene. It's also definitely worth noting that everybody is here now, or at least most of the Straw Hats are here now, all in the same area, which I think Oda is doing on purpose, and we may get an interaction with the entire crew before we move on to like the big fights and before it turns into an all-out bloodbath. I want that interaction. I'm not 100% sure we're going to be getting it, but there must be a reason for Oda gathering the Straw Hats in one place. So giving us that interaction and having a captain moment for Luffy right before the war begins with the people he loves the most in the world, I think that would be brilliant for the arc. Just brilliant for Luffy as a character too. So overall thoughts on the chapter. It was a good chapter. I'm very excited for the next one. In terms of toxicity within the community, boy, the Sanji fans have been coming at my neck because they know I don't like Sanji, and I always said Sanji isn't going to save Momonosuke because there isn't a narrative for it, and I still do kind of stand by that. I think there were a lot better choices than Sanji to save him, but the scene was really good, so I'm satisfied regardless. I don't hate Sanji to the point where I'm gonna let him affect my opinion on the series, guys. I'm not gonna let him destroy every single chapter he's in. That's not the kind of person I am, and that's not the kind of content I'm gonna be making, because this is the third most popular character in the series. His fandom is massive, and I know there's people that are going to be commenting under this very video that I should just drop One Piece if I don't like Sanji, because you know that's how people are when you don't like their favorite characters. But yeah, guys, good chapter, quite a short review because there isn't that much to talk about this week, and I don't think there's gonna be that much to talk about for the next few weeks to come. I don't think there's gonna be any big massive plot developments. I think it's just gonna be a thing where we get a lot of action, some interactions, and we're in the war now, guys. It's gonna start to mirror Marineford in a sense, where it's just gonna be all out mayhem going back to back to back every single chapter, and I'm excited for that because that means we're going to be getting a lot of interesting discussions within the community, because we're going to be having feats thrown around, we're going to be having just power scaling toxicity, we're going to be having people guessing who is fighting who, and it's just interesting overall, the matchups as a whole. I'm still 100% on Zoro versus King. So that's something else that's very interesting, because a lot of people don't think that's going to happen and they think Sanji's fighting King. But yeah, let me not get too ahead of myself. That deserves its own video that should be coming out some point during the week or over the next 2 weeks, because unfortunately One Piece is on break next week yet again, which we're just gonna have to get used to at this point. A lot of that is going to be happening this year just because of coronavirus as a whole. I do look forward to the time where Oda goes back to his normal regular schedule, but with, you know, Shonen Jump breaks on top of Oda breaks on top of just what is happening with coronavirus, we're gonna have to get used to it. It sucks, but it's life. We're gonna get used to it. We still should be on track for getting chapter 1000 this year though, which I am very, very excited for. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, then like the video. If you didn't like the video, then tell me in the comment section why you didn't, and just in general, even if you did like the video, tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. This is the channel where we talk about One Piece. We talk about One Piece a lot. I hope you guys have a brilliant Sunday, and if you're watching this on a day that isn't Sunday, I hope you have a wonderful day. I have been Fiji. Peace.